So, greetings users, Mihayu here, welcome back to another FTB Strategy Guide episode, and continuing with the Buildcraft, we've covered engines and piping. So what I'd like to talk about next is the assembly table, because this is an incredible, useful tool if you've got the resources for it. It's a little bit expensive, but we're going to need to make an assembly table, and then you power it with lasers. Now, the more lasers you have, the faster it'll work for you. But again, it only requires one. It's just going to be a little bit slow and tedious for you. Now, the lasers do run off of engine power. So, like I said, I've got a little rig set up here that I'll explain to you. So let's go over how you make this. The assembly table is probably a little bit expensive to make. What you're going to need is you are going to need about 5 diamonds to make the assembly table by itself. So we start with a couple sticks here, and we're going to make ourselves a wooden gear, which then upgrades to a stone gear, which then upgrades to an iron gear, which then upgrades to a gold gear, and that's what 4 of your diamonds are going to go to, is a diamond gear. So we take our diamond gear, an extra diamond in the middle, and redstone, and then we are going to need 6 obsidian. So if you've got the materials to make this, I really love this machine, this machine, I guess you could call it, because it is incredibly useful for making chipsets, which the chipsets can be used in place of in recipes that require electronic circuits and stuff. You can make these gates and chipsets and stuff. Now the gates are primarily used in conjunction with the piping systems of Buildcraft. So before we get into exactly what all we can use it for, let's figure out how to make the lasers, because we're going to need the lasers to power it. So the laser is made simply by taking redstone, putting 2 diamonds in the center, and 2 obsidian blocks. So that's how we end up making those. And so basically what we're going to do is, like I said, the more lasers we have, the faster your assembly table is going to work. So I've got 3 set up here, and I've got basically just little Stirling engines run to them. So we're going to put some charcoal in here because that's really abundant and really easy to get a hold of. So what I've done is I've put these 3 engines down, and I put some redstone right here behind it. Now I'm using redstone red alloy wire from Red Power because it's really clean and it sticks to the blocks, but you can do this with just redstone of any kind. And I put a lever here so I can control these. So if I really don't if I really don't want my engines on, which if you're not using your assembly table, you're definitely going to want these kind of engines off, especially, or at least if you're using the conductive pipes. Now, the conductive pipes, like I talked about with the engines, take the engine power and reroute it into your machines. So I had to have a wooden conductive pipe on each machine, and I routed them into stone conductive pipe, which is then routed up. I fed them into one single line because what you do have to be careful with these is if I were to take, for instance, and put these right here, what you would end up doing is you would get a whole lot of cross feed, because as the engine power comes up, it wants to divide itself among the different directions it can go into. So if you come out of the wooden pipe into the stone pipe, you've got 2 directions to go. Then if one goes up here, then it splits again. And so what you end up doing is because the way it constantly is splitting is that you end up with these feedback loops right here. And so you'll end up getting engine power looping in here, and eventually it builds up and will explode. So if you want to keep your pipes and not have to constantly keep repairing them all the time and wasting energy, you definitely want to at least, I recommend funneling them into a single piping and then let it divide out right before your engine. So alright, so let's go ahead and give these guys a fire up here. As you can see, the engines start moving. That means that the lasers now have power, and if I throw in some redstone here, what you do is you actually have to click on the redstone chipset right there, and that tells it to start making it. And now what this will do is, unfortunately, this assembly table will start popping out the items unless you have a chest placed directly adjacent to it to catch the items, or a transport pipe or anything else. Otherwise, it'll just pop out on the floor, and if you're not over here to catch it, it will despawn. So now, unfortunately, it looks like these Stirling engines aren't quite keeping up, because what you'll see is the lasers are staying red. So now if I wanted to, maybe we could route enough power into one laser to get a steady blast. See what I'm saying? We've got some residual power energy, I believe, in these outbound. Alright, so let's try this. See, our engine's warmed up here. Current output 1 megajoule per tick. Yes, 1 megajoule per tick. The laser itself requires a full power of 4.2 megajoules. So, if we want to get into our inventory here, let's grab out another stone one. So this should make it just over 4. Oops, do I have my red alloy wire here? We got to route up our power to it. Boom, boom. Now this, see that? It started to change color, just like some of the other engines. Let's go one more back here. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can. Awesome. Except it's not going to. There we go. Alright, so that should be 5 engines for 1 laser beam, and we should, once it gets warmed up, get a solid stream. And what you'll see is that the some of the engines will actually be color coordinated, or color coded, I guess you could say, that as they start warming up, the colors change from red to yellow to blue, and that shows that the engine is nice and hot and warmed up. Oh, I didn't put any charcoal in there. There we go. Okay, so it goes from red to yellow. Oh, still not enough. Alright. Desperate times then. And let's get some more of that charcoal. Why is my... There we go. Throw 2 more of them in there. Boom. There we go. So now what you're seeing is full power. And what you'll see here is it actually starts going a whole lot quicker now that it's at full power. Now, did we actually get any made? We did get one made. Now, had I routed up, which what I've done here is I've actually routed up a lot more stronger power to these guys, and what I've illustrated here is how far away you can actually set your laser beams. You can set up, lasers, you can set them 5 blocks away. So this is the max distance I've got here. So if you count it out, you've got the machine, 1, 2, 3, 4 lasers on the 5th. Now what I've done here is I've routed my Stirling engines to pump into the redstone energy conduits that we talked about in a previous episode on thermal expansion. Now the reason I like these, of course, is because they're not going to explode. And so what I've done is I put a single redstone energy cell here. And so what this will do is that this way you can actually keep these guys running full blast and not have to worry about them exploding. So now as long as you've got charcoal, you can get these guys going. And look at that, they've already fired up. So now what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm actually going to drop my output down to a 0 so that right now it'll build up some energy. Now what you can actually do also is set this redstone, set it to require a redstone energy signal, and then, I lost my dirt here, then what we can do is, boom, actually, I need to get back in there. Alright, so now I believe it's not outputting any. Yeah, see, now it's only building up. So then when we're ready to use the lasers, flick them on, flick them off, turns the power off to the lasers. However, you're still building up a surplus here. So you're, burning that without having to worry about your pipes exploding. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn this guy off over here. And of course there is a little bit of residual power in the laser. Unfortunately it doesn't have an interface, so you can't exactly see that, but give it just a moment here, and eventually it'll make a liar out of me. There we go. Alright, so what we see here is that one neat thing about the assembly table is that once you've clicked on a chipset to operate it, will keep making it as long as it has a surplus of materials. So as long as I've got redstone here, I can constantly make redstone chipsets. Now, what I also like is the fact that as you build up a progress bar, it saves that progress bar. So in case you accidentally run out of energy or power, you're not going to lose your progress on your material. So what we see here, we've already got 2 made. So in the interest of saving some time, what I've done is I've actually rigged up some extra full power cells, full energy cells to some lasers, and I also wanted to illustrate another aspect of these lasers, and that is the fact that these lasers are actually not affected by any kind of block. So if you actually wanted to hide these behind a wall, like this, they would actually go through the wall into your laser. So if you want to maintain some aesthetics or something, you can certainly put these guys behind a wall or anything. In fact, you can actually put them, like I said, 5 blocks away in any direction. So you could put them up in your ceiling, and you could even put them down in your below the assembly table to save on space. So what you can see I've done here is I've actually got lasers set up underneath. Oh, and I just broke my redstone wire. Oh, and of course, I seem to have messed up my alloy wire. Give me just a second here. And so much for that grand finale. What you see here is I've got these redstone energy cells set up with blocks underneath of them that are connected to the red alloy wire, so that when the alloy wire is over the block, it activates these, which I've set to, again, require a redstone signal in order to operate. So they're always in an off position until they get this redstone signal. And so they're going up through the floor and into our assembly table, which kind of creates a cool little light show effect as it builds things. Now you can see this is now pumping a whole lot faster. So let's go ahead and pause that for just a second. Let me go ahead and show you some of the other really cool things we can make with this chipset. Now, these are all the materials that you can actually throw into this table here. We've got ender pearls, which give you a pulsating chipset, which is really cool for some really fancy gates. So now what we want to do is we're going to pull up on our inventory here, and let's see, let's filter out some of our Buildcraft. I guess it's under, here we go, silicon. Alright, so we're going to go to Buildcraft, silicon. These are all of our chipsets. So what we've got are, a regular redstone, iron like I've showed you here, gold, a diamond chipset, and the pulsating chipset. Now what you can do with these chipsets is you can actually put them back in and create some really cool gates. Alright, so let's take, for instance, our chipset and throw it into here, and what we've got is a simple gate. So let's go ahead and set that to make. Now what you saw there, see how one is the lighter red and the darker red? This one, the dark red, or I'm sorry, bright red is the active recipe, I guess you could call it. This is what the machine is going to actively make. Dark red is the standby. So if I wanted to make all these guys on standby, as soon as I ran out of these chipsets and this was done, it'd start working down the line until you making other materials for us. So we're going to make a couple of these chipsets as well. Alright, so let's flip our power back on. See if we can get that going real quick. Now what gates are used for, and I started to allude to this earlier, gates are used in conjunction with Buildcraft pipes. Now a gate actually physically attaches to the pipe, and once it's on the pipe, it gives you an interface so you can actually control certain situations around the pipe. Let's just hook one of these up, for instance. Let's say I put one on this wooden pipe right next to a chest, okay? Putting the gate on there, then I right click on it and it gives me this open interface. Now on the left hand side is basically like a conditional statement. So it's, if this happens, do this, is how this basically works. So if, let's say pipe is empty. Then it gives you an output for emit a redstone signal, or in this case, a simple gate only allows you to do that. So if items are transversing, if redstone signal is on. So, for instance, if you wanted to say inventory items, if an inventory is empty, then emit a redstone signal. In which case, since this inventory is not currently empty, you'll see that it's not, that's gray right here means it is not a true condition. However, if I remove these bricks, get rid of some of my inventory here, whoa, you'll see now that the gate is emitting a redstone signal. So there we go. Had I break that facade there and I connect the redstone, you'll see that it's emitting. Now if I say items are in inventory, emit redstone signal, now you see it's not working. Throw the bricks back into it. Boom. This comes in real handy anytime that you want to, say, have a chest to dump your stuff into. As soon as it registers that you're dumping stuff into it, you can have a gate set with a redstone signal, which, if you think about it, let's go ahead and set this up again with my wooden pipe onto there. And I don't seem to have any stone pipes, but we'll do a couple of these. So, we've got a chest, and what we want the chest to do is, just like the gate said, we're going to, if there are, oh wow, see now, this also will give you, now that it's next to an engine, is giving us even more options, so that if the engine is, let's say, red, so if your engines are red lining, what you can do is say emit a redstone signal and have your engine require a redstone signal, have your engine turn off if it has a redstone signal next to it. So what you can do is you can actually use these gates to help control and keep your engines from exploding. So if we, oh, there we go. If no energy, emit redstone signal. If energy stored, it can store energy, full energy. Okay, so let's do inventory. Items in inventory means redstone signal, which means that the engine is on, which means that as items start coming out, we're just going to shoot them up in the air for now. But in theory, we would have, let's say, like another chest. We'd have another chest there to catch it, or some kind of sorting system. Now, what's really cool about this is as the inventory gets empty, let's throw those back up in there. The only thing I not like about this mod is that you do have to break the pipe completely in order to get the gate back. It's the only downfall to it, but alright, so now what you'll see here is it looks like our gate turned off. Yep, looks like our chest is empty. Everything's up here now. I've got some ideas in mind for the use of these gates and how they come in real handy, but I think I'm going to save that for another episode because we're going a little long here. So if you guys don't mind me fumbling around, stay tuned for more. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate the support. If you enjoyed what you saw, give me a like, maybe subscribe. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more of these videos coming, and of course if there's anything you guys would like to see in future episodes, I've actually included a Google form down below in the description that you guys can fill out for suggestions / feedback, so you guys tell me how I'm doing and what you guys like. I appreciate all the support, and stay tuned for more.